So here we are in Brady, Texas. I am going to show you what I believe to be the largest country music collection outside of the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville. Here we are in the heart of Texas. Come on in. It's going to blow you away. Check this out. Is this not insane? I mean, this is phenomenal.
Hey, Stephen.
What's up?
How are you, man?
Good,
to see
man.
you.
Long time no see, brother.
I know. Good to have you here in Brady, Texas.
Thanks, man.
Well,
Thank
it's
you.
been a while.
It has been a while, and I'm shell shocked. I walk in here and I see all this new displays, and you expanded, and I mean this collection's crazy, man.
Well, you've been very helpful through the years to help us to expand that collection too.
Oh, I appreciate it. Man, give me a little tour here.
Sure.
I'm anxious to hear like what some of your favorite pieces are.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some of your favorite artists, but also some of your favorite pieces that maybe you're not favorite artists, but you just like the clothing.
Well, it's kind of interesting because we have a huge collection of Jim Reeves things.
Sure.
And Jim, of course, was a huge international star, but we were able to kind of save some of his stuff whenever the museum in Madison, Tennessee went under.
Absolutely.
And so we were able to kind of save some of his pieces. So we have several Jim Reeves pieces, several of his suits. We don't have them all out. We have some still in storage at this particular time.
You're expanding.
We are expanding,
Okay.
and hopefully, very soon we'll be able to put more of our collection out for everyone to see. But not only things we have in here of Jim Reeves, we also have Jim's 1956 flexible tour bus.
Okay, we got to see that.
And I love the tour bus, but it's kind of interesting. We went to the auction with that in mind to purchase that.
Sure.
We bought the bus for $3,000,
Right.
and it cost $3,100 to haul it from Nashville to Texas. So,
Wow.
But we were very happy to have that. But that's
fantastic.
Of course, the Reeves stuff is always important to country music fans.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And with the Texas connection.
Very big Texas connection, no doubt. We have a lot of things, even in this particular case here. Jeannie C. Riley, who had a big hit with Harper Valley PTA.
Yeah.
She's a great benefactor to our museum. She comes down and visits us real often.
Oh, nice.
Has book
realize
signings, photo signings, and that sort of thing.
Very cool.
And her fans are so loyal.
Oh, yeah.
But I love her mini skirts.
Okay.
And so
She's beautiful, still a beautiful lady.
she wore the mini skirts well back in the day.
Yes, she did.
And she was kind enough to make sure that we have some of her mini skirts in our
Nice.
collection.
Very cool.
I love the Nudie stuff.
Yeah.
Nudie was just a great designer, and this Lefty Frizzell suit is in my opinion the iconic piece when it comes to Lefty Frizzell.
It is.
And this is something that you know more about probably than I do, because we actually acquired this from you, Stephen.
True. That's, I guess, probably 15 years ago,
Yeah.
18 years ago maybe. It came out of a storage facility originally in Nashville. Sad but true. A lot of that stuff surfaces that way, but I'm really glad to see it here. I mean, it looks fantastic.
Well, David Frizzell was with us not too long ago, and he came and spent some time at the museum, and of course he loved the suit, and he had to try it on.
Oh.
And so about a month later, he was working up in North Texas, and he had called me and asked me if there was any way that he could wear the suit at his show. And so I actually took the Nudie up there.
Really?
And he wore it at his show that
No
night
kidding.
in Weatherford, Texas.
Wow. I did not know that.
So,
Wow.
and I don't know if you're familiar with the Malpas brothers.
Oh, yeah.
You know
absolutely.
the Malpas brothers?
Sure.
Well, they were also here recently, and Chris Malpas is a huge Lefty Frizzell fan.
Oh, okay.
And so we let Chris wear the jacket on his stage show.
No
Now,
kidding.
I love this stuff, and I respect this stuff so much, but I think every once in a while, it's nice to see the stuff still being used
Yes.
for what it
No,
supposed to be
I
used for.
agree. Well, and especially with instruments. I mean,
Yes.
they're kind of a living, breathing thing, and even though
Mhm.
the artist that's owned them has passed on, I think it's good mojo to play them.
Yeah, for
especially if it's someone decent,
Yes.
a decent player.
Yes.
And I know you've got a lot of instruments in here as well,
Yes.
which I want to get to.
You know, the Hank Snow guitar, you remember the Hank Snow guitar?
I sure do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was very proud to get a piece of. I loved Hank Snow. I loved his playing and that sort of thing. And this was made by Gay,
Gay, yep.
who also made a guitar for Carl Smith and Webb Pierce and a few other people back in the day. And that was the one that he made for Mr. Snow. And I love the musical note suit. Kind of reminiscent of the Hank Senior suit.
Yeah, kind of a tribute suit.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. The guitar, it's when I'd gotten out of the Rainbow Ranch, I'll never forget, the guitar's hanging on the wall and there's an artificial plant in it, like sprouting out.
Yes.
And that was like the decorative piece. And I was like, man, what a flower arrangement. So naturally, I don't know if you got the artificial arrangement with it.
Yeah, you took that out.
I did.
I think
So it's funny. It's a great guitar. I mean,
it's a great guitar.
Hank Snow up the frets.
And with Hank Snow, the piece too, no doubt.
Farron,
yeah. Farron actually, it's interesting about that particular jacket because that was worn on several different album covers. And as you know, they did photo shoots not as well as they do today, back in the day. And so if they had a good photo shoot, they would put it on several albums. And I've got at least 4 or 5 albums of Farron wearing that particular jacket on the cover of various albums that were recorded.
He wore it on Wind Me Up, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
That's correct. Alone with You. And some of them were kind of knockoff albums, you know, but still they were.
I didn't realize he'd worn that on several albums.
Yes, I've got a copy of every album that he wore it on.
Very cool. No artist would do that today.
No,
right? I mean, you would never catch Carrie Underwood wearing the same outfit ever anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, but that's cool.
Dolly says she wears everything one time and that's it.
Yeah, it goes in archives. But that is a beautiful suit, and I mean the workmanship is crazy. It's kind of Elvis-esque.
I love that suit, and that actually was created by Susan Alamo.
Oh,
remember Tony and Susan
absolutely.
Alamo? And that actually was created by Susan, and I love the suit, and of course the birds on it. Margot Smith had that custom made for her from them, and. Anyway, great suit.
Oh yeah, well, the Alamos, great story.
Yeah,
great. Yeah,
sad story.
Sad story.
Anyway,
yes,
great story.
Part of the music history lore. Anytime I hear Nudie, immediately my mind goes to Porter Wagner.
Yeah.
Tell me about this suit. I mean, this is spectacular.
Yeah, I'd always wanted a Porter piece. I've always wanted a Porter Wagner piece, and of course. Porter Wagner pieces are not easy to come by, and you can understand why.
Right.
And so this particular suit was originally made for Porter by Nudie, and then Porter, we're not sure, either gave it to or sold it to Bob Hope. Bob Hope was in Nashville shooting a television special, and it was a country music television special. Bob Hope wanted a Nudie suit, and so we're not sure exactly how it came about, but Bob Hope actually wound up with one of Porter's Nudie suits. And this actually was in Bob Hope's estate auction whenever Bob Hope passed away. And we just acquired this about a year ago, I guess. So it's our first Porter Wagner piece.
That's fantastic. And it's got, if I'm not mistaken, Porter Wagner in the working label in the pocket?
Yes, the pocket of it is, and that's, as you well know, that's the working labels, that's how they identified the suits.
Yeah.
And so it's got Porter's name inside it, but we also have some wonderful images of Bob Hope wearing this particular suit as well too. And this is kind of our Porter Wagner section, I guess, because along with Porter we have a Dolly Parton dress, and then we have Pretty Miss Norma Jean, who was on the Porter Wagner show for 8 years before Dolly took her place for 8 years as well.
Okay.
Remember when our friend Robbie Wachowski had the yard sales in Nashville in his backyard?
Oh yeah, sure.
I went to the first one, and that morning I was, there very early, and I went outside in the backyard, and what did I see but the Spec Road suit hanging there, and I knew if I didn't get anything else, I wanted the Spec Road suit.
Absolutely.
And so we were proud to get the Spec Roads outfit.
Oh, that's fantastic. You've been fortunate enough, I mean, you know a lot of these artists. You've worked with them, you know a lot of them. I mean, you have relationships with them now. I mean, obviously they're working with you to, you acquire a lot of pieces from them and so forth. So, I mean, who have you not worked with?
There's people that I would have loved to have been able to. People like Johnny Cash. I never met Johnny Cash. That would have been neat. Waylon. I never had an opportunity to meet Waylon. But there's not many of the others, I guess, that I haven't been fortunate. I started in radio when I was 15 years old, and I'm 52 now. And so since that particular time, I've had a chance to interview most of these guys and work shows with them, MC shows for them, or book them down here in Texas.
Sure.
Or see them at the Grand Ole Opry.
Sure.
So I've been very fortunate that I've been able to see most of the people that I've admired in this business.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You can't ask for a whole lot more than that.
Can't ask for a whole lot more than that.
That's fantastic. I recognize some of the wax figures from the
Yes.
old defunct Nashville Wax Museum that was on Demumbrian, correct?
Yes, we went and we actually picked up, I think we picked up 8 or 9 of those. With Kitty Wells, Johnny and Jack, Bob Wills, George Jones, George Hamilton IV,
yeah.
some of those guys, Cowboy Copus, that were sent to South Carolina. And so we drove out to South Carolina and kind of saved those.
Oh yeah, no, I recall that story.
Yeah.
It's interesting where the items just they travel, but they're home now. So I'm glad you've got them.
Yeah.
This
I love the mailbox.
Okay, this is on an album cover,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay, there it is. All right. Okay, this is crazy. How'd you get this, if you don't mind me asking?
I think didn't you facilitate this?
I-
Or was it Robbie?
I believe it or not, I did tour that on the Honky Tonk Hall of Fame Brooks and Dunn tours.
Yes.
So I did have it in a case on display, and I'd forgotten about that it's on an album cover in entirety. But I think Robbie was responsible for getting that to me to exhibit, and then I think you got it from me or Robbie or.
Yeah, and I think maybe Robbie called me one day and said that the Webb Pierce mailbox was coming available, and you know, even whenever he described it to me, I didn't realize how big it. I mean, it's
big.
That's a big mailbox, you know, and so it's Webb Pierce's mailbox. It was out in front of his house on Curtis Wood Lane.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. That's
And
correct, yeah.
and that was his mailbox that he had out there, and it was just, I mean, it screams hillbilly. You know,
Wealthy hillbilly.
wealthy hillbilly millionaire is what it screams.
It's hillbilly rock star.
That's exactly right. And so I knew I had to have it for the museum, and so we got that. And I'll tell you, I got to give credit to Ron Williams, who is the son of Leona Williams, a country music singer. He actually wound up bringing it down in his pickup truck to me one time whenever he's working a date for us.
Nice, nice.
But everyone loves the mailbox.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I do remember now, the memories coming back, that is extremely heavy.
Very heavy, yes. And after we put the bass on it, it's even more heavy.
Yeah. Ernest Tubb?
Yes.
Looks like the Tubb family?
Yes, I was a huge Ernest Tubb fan, and we have some Ernest clothing. We have one Justin Tubbs guitar, actually, and then we just recently got Leon Rhodes, who's one of the Texas Troubadours.
Sure.
We got his one of his outfit, and that actually came from Taylor Malpas. From the Malpas brothers.
Oh yeah,
So,
sure, absolutely.
anyway, so
That's a true trademark suit from Ernest, would you not say? I mean,
yes,
yeah, I
for
mean,
sure.
that's
He wasn't really into the rhinestones. And there's a
little more subdued.
Yeah, he's very subdued. He loved the Western clothing, and that actually was a Nathan Turk, if I remember correctly. That's a Nathan Turk, and it's a very nice suit.
Oh yes, that's beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Hank Thompson.
Hank Thompson.
Show me Hank Thompson.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is a
wow.
This is a great room. It's all Hank Thompson. Hank and his wife Ann Thompson were so good to us through the years. And
you were longtime friends.
yes,
You're
yes, we were
close.
very close. I actually emceed his memorial service at Billy Bob's. It was awesome.
Wow,
So
wow.
I was honored to get a chance to do that. Interestingly enough, whenever he passed away, he wanted all of his memorials to go to our museum. And the first day we opened up the mail, there was a $1,000 check from Vince Gill and a $500 check from George Jones on the same day. I thought, not often do you get 2 donations of that magnitude from Country Music Hall of Famers right there on the same day. But it was amazing because so many of Hank's friends were generous to us because of him. But we have his touring guitar, you know, that he used. He loved nudie suits back in the day, and that even have his outfit that he accepted his Country Music Hall of Fame honor in.
Wow.
And then we even have his Navy uniform whenever he was in the Navy.
Oh wow, I just saw that. Wow, that's
and of
fantastic.
course his first big hit was Whoa Sailor. So it kind of goes hand in hand with that.
Man, what an eye for flash, and I mean, just beautiful clothing. The nudies and the Manuel, gorgeous. Yeah. I always gravitate towards some of the older, like early career-related clothing.
Yes.
And I've noticed that in the museum. I mean, you know, some of the artists. I mean, a lot of it's like in the height of their career, but when it's like kind of homespun.
Yes.
Before they had money to buy expensive clothes. I love that because that's like the genesis of their career. You know,
It is.
they're probably so proud of the first suit that they got to wear on stage. And I know you have a lot of those pieces.
You know, Judy Lynn, you remember
Oh,
Judy
yeah,
Lynn?
sure, absolutely.
So Judy Lynn, we have a great ensemble of hers, all of her nudie stuff with the rhinestone hat and everything else. But we also have the first suit that her mother handmade for her.
Oh, see that?
And she told me the story that when she played her very last show, that she came out in one of the fine nudie outfits, but during intermission, she went back, and for her very last 30 minutes of her show, she went back to that very first suit her mother made her because it was more important to her than all the nudies that she had the chance to buy through the years.
See that? That
It
sums
goes
it up
with
right
you.
there.
Yes.
There's so many favorite pieces I want to get to. Take me to, in this wing
Yes.
of everything, show me your two favorite pieces, or two
favorite-
favorite artists, or two favorite pieces.
Well, I'll have to say that certainly one of my favorite pieces here is this Ray Price suit.
Oh, yeah.
This particular suit was worn on Ray Price's Greatest Hits album. It's the nudie outfit, and the back of it is the Cherokee headdress all the way down.
Wow.
But the great story about this particular suit is I had a man up north call me one day, and he said, hey, I've got a suit here that, he was an auctioneer. He said, I've got a suit here that they tell me is a Ray Price suit, and the lady wants to sell it. And I said, okay. He said, how do I verify that? And I said, what does the suit look like? And he said, well, it has an Indian head on the back. It's got eagle feathers all the way down the legs. And he said, it's real outrageous, you know. And I said, okay. I said, can you open up the jacket? And he said, yeah. I said, what does the jacket have in it? And he said, it says nudies. I said, okay. I said, go into the pocket and pull it out. I said, what does it say in the pocket? And he says, Ray Price, 1957. Oh, I said, you have a Ray Price suit.
Wow.
And the story is that Mr. Price left it with a lady one time.
Gotcha.
And she kept it for all these years.
Gotcha.
Decided to sell it. And I told him, I said, well, we will be a bidder, because it was going to be up for auction. I said, we will be a bidder in it. And it came down to the point where it was just two of us bidding on this suit, and we wound up winning it. I've got to tell you too, this one of our biggest, most attractable pieces is this bumper car, and that also, Stephen, was thanks to you.
Oh, all right.
You would
Well,
be
I appreciate it.
surprised.
Thank you.
You'd be surprised at how many people have sat in this particular bumper car through the years. Even our mutual friend, little Jimmy Dickens, one time got in the
No
bumper
kidding.
car.
I didn't realize that.
Yes,
That's awesome.
Yes, and so it's really become a great photo op for people.
Sure.
And you know more about the story than I do, but we're very happy to have it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm glad you have it. Yeah, it came from Liberty Land, and of course Elvis would rent Liberty Land to ride, you know, the Zip and Pippin, and the bumper cars was a favorite ride of his.
Yeah.
And this is a 70s era, and he actually, just a couple weeks before he passed, he had rented the whole park, and Lisa Marie was there, and so these are some of the, you know, he would have ridden in these. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you got it. In fact, I remember trucking this down here about 15 years ago, but I'm glad you got it. I really am. So.
Yes. But anyway, it's very popular and people love it. And
Good. Cool.
As a matter of fact, country music singer Dale Watson was in the other day doing a photo session.
Sure.
And one of the pictures he took was inside
Oh, nice.
the Elvis bumper car.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Man, thank you so much. There's so much to see. I'm going to spread the gospel about this museum. I mean, the awards, the instruments. I mean, and again, I know you're a clothing freak. I'm a clothing
Sure.
freak. All the stories are told. You've worked with so many of these people. You've known so many of these people that it just, I mean, this is a fantastic museum. And I know it means a
thank
lot to you. It means a lot to me that I'm glad that we're friends because I can come in and look at it. So,
You know, we're very thankful because of two primary reasons. The artists that have been kind enough to make sure, Marty Stewart told me, that things end up where they're supposed to be. And so I'm very thankful that these things have ended up with us so that we can be caretakers of them for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very thankful for that. And I'm also thankful for the generosity of our supporters, our museum supporters, and our volunteers completely run the museum. I mean, it's a complete nonprofit. There's never a charge. We don't charge any admission.
I didn't realize that.
And for 20 years, we financially have been able to keep it going.
Wow, I did not know all that.
Without any,
and I feel ignorant not knowing that.
Without any charge at all.
Wow, that's
and
fantastic.
so I'm thankful for those supporters that have been so good to us through the years. They have kept the rhinestones blingy.
I like that. One final question, only because this is important to me and I know it is to you as well, because of the music. Do you have a lot of young kids come in?
You know, it's kind of interesting because they bring school kids in.
Oh, love that.
And I love that because
Yeah,
they get to learn a little bit about the music business and that sort of thing. And one of my greatest memories, I was coming in to the museum one time and they had a large group of Boy Scouts that were in. And George Hamilton IV from the Grand Ole Opry
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
was here with us
Oh, yeah.
at that time. And George Hamilton IV was in here in this building with his little guitar, his little baby Martin guitar that he had.
Sure.
And he was here and he had all these Boy Scouts sitting around him.
Wow.
And he was telling them the story of country music. And I tell you what, it just nearly made me cry.
Oh, absolutely.
Because a lot of those
It's
kids, and he just had them enthralled in his storytelling because George was such a great storyteller.
Oh, absolutely.
But I thought to myself, you know, one of these days those kids are going to grow up and realize that a true country music legend was there with them that day.
And possibly one of those kids will grow up to be a country music artist.
You never know.
So that's fantastic.
Yes.
I love that, man.
I love you.
Thanks. Love you, man. It's fantastic. I got to get down here more, you know.
Come by, we're going to expand, so next time we'll have another building to go through.
When is groundbreaking?
Groundbreaking is March. And we'll have a lot of our country music friends that are going to be here taking part in the groundbreaking. And so hopefully in another year, we'll have another expanded.
Great.
And you guys got to come back and visit
Oh,
us.
definitely. Awesome.
While in Brady, Texas, Tracy Pitcox put us up in the historic True Country Inn. The themed hotel once saw Bonnie and Clyde as patrons and features rooms dedicated to Elvis, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and George Strait, to name a few. The reportedly haunted hotel shows its historic architectural elements with modern conveniences. We wanted to thank the owner and staff for their Southern Texas hospitality.